Hey, and welcome to Matt and Jess TV. I am Matt
And I'm
Roast.
Jessica Bun Bun.
And here we are with our Silo Season 3, Episode 9 reaction and review, where it was honestly just like a few minutes before I watched this episode that it really dawned on me that there are only a couple left this season. Like,
Yeah.
it did actually feel like this season went by really fast, despite us having our fair share of misgivings about it.
This episode was excellent
Mhm.
all the way through. I mean, with everything, with the silo, I was just like, when they cut halfway through this episode to the present, I was immediately pissed off because I was like, what an incredible first half of this episode in the silo, everything with Bernard, the huge at the end. And I
Yeah.
was like, and now you're going to bring me back to the present. But the present was done so well and it was so excellent. This is easily the best episode of the entire season.
I think it just really speaks to these are good things that can happen when you don't mess around with the pacing of the show all
Yep.
that much, because getting kind of constantly jerked around from one timeline to the other
Yeah.
timeline over the course of an episode, it can be a little bit overwhelming. But
Right.
here, I did, like you, get a little bit mad when we first were like, oh, we're going back to Daniel and Helen now. Great. After all the, but then, yeah, it actually held its own. We got to see kind of the real origins of people going into the silos.
Yeah.
And it's just like we're set up now for a really great finale that at the same time I know is going to piss me off because they've already renewed the show. Season 4 has already been filmed. We're getting a big
Hmm.
cliffhanger.
Absolutely, we're getting a big cliffhanger, and that totally makes sense after what happened in this episode. There's no way to kind of tie it up in a way that will satisfy us until the next season. But there's only one episode left.
All right, well, we have so much to get into in this
Mhm.
video, but before we dive any further, we want to take a moment and thank our sponsor for this video, and that is Oxnet Clothing.
Mhm.
This is a clothing brand that Jess first put me onto several months ago, and they have all of these cool retro style designs. Jess and I are both wearing Oxnet in this
Mhm.
video. Not only are they very snazzy,
Yes,
they're also so comfortable. Like,
they
you
are.
really just feel so relaxed when you wear them. They have all these awesome designs. And if you go over to the link in our description right now,
Mhm.
you can get 15% off your next order with the promo code Matt and Jess TV. Thank you so much to Oxnet for sponsoring this video.
Thank you so much. They have their whole fall collection out right now.
Mhm.
It's amazing. You want to grab some sweaters for the autumn? It's coming up. It's coming up fast.
Yeah, we might need them. Temperatures can drop pretty fast here.
All right, let's get into the loss of Bernard because they have done an excellent job this season turning that character around to where I was like, I'm not going to cry. I'm not going to cry.
Yeah.
Cry over Bernard and the horrible things that he has done over all these seasons.
Yeah.
By the time he shook hands with Rob and Rob kind of gulped and looked down, that was it. I was done. Listen, I'm a Pisces. I cry over everything, but I was like, I am not going to cry over this man. Even though Juliette was totally right when she was just like, you know what? I'm so mad. And you know what I'm mad about? I'm mad that I'm no longer mad at you. And I felt that in this episode where I was like, okay, you know what? If Rob is here, if Juliette's here, I'm allowed to be here too. It was such a stunning performance.
It was so but like we all know Tim Robbins is a great actor, like he's been that way for decades, but the him with the performance this season to get us back on board someone who was pretty universally loathed for very understandable reasons
Yes.
through the first couple of seasons, to then him going out to clean. And obviously there's a bigger purpose behind this we'll get into, but just him without the suit, without any of the like accoutrements designed to keep you
Mhm.
quote unquote safe out there. I'm going to spoil season 3 of House of the Dragon for the next 10 seconds, just so you guys know. This is what Sir Kristen Cole wished that he had when it
Right.
came to like this big noble death. And I mean, in Bernard's sense, this is as much of a heroic death as this guy was ever going to have.
Listen, I know that they wanted to have Tim Robbins' whole face out there having this huge death scene.
Mhm.
And that's why they were like, you know what? No suit. I was just like, the silo would never allow this. Everyone in silo one would never allow something like this for him to go out with no suit, too clean, and then have people in the cafeteria being like, wait a second, I thought
Mhm.
this was like a thing that's not supposed to happen. Why in the world is this happening? It's causing a little bit of confusion and rustling in the silo, which is what they don't want. So I was actually really surprised that they allowed that to
Yeah.
happen at all. I was more suspecting that it was going to be like, okay, they're going to put him in the suit, they're going to close the door, all the fire's going to go on, he's going to rip that suit off and walk up.
The idea that, yeah, he's able to just be up there, sandsuit, get a death that I guess is quote unquote on his own terms, I think it
Yes.
does, in a weird way, speak to some of Bernard's final words here, which
Mhm.
is just that for all of the various theorizing that the algorithm is just a computer, that this is somebody behind the curtain who is capable of emotions, because it kind of feels like the algorithm was being so petty and in some ways gleeful about the idea that they were going to be able to take out Bernard, who was causing all of these
Yep.
problems for them, that they kind of abandoned what were traditional procedures here. I kind of feel like if this was just an emotionless machine, like, would it ever have allowed, would it have just stopped and been like, okay, this is going to happen, but it's going to happen under the same orders as everybody else?
Well, that's the thing, right? I mean, we've been talking about this all season, the
Mm,
idea that the AI, as we've all kind of been calling it,
yeah.
is actually just a person, that it is somebody behind the curtain, like the Wizard of Oz, and
Yeah.
that they're not really sitting there, calculating anything. They're just trying to figure out what they want to do with this silo to keep it running and keep everybody in check in some sort of way. And I think Camille already had felt that there was something a little bit odd. She mentioned it to Bernard as well when Bernard was like, this AI computer, it was being really petty with me. It seemed like it was getting frustrated with me,
Hmm.
things that it shouldn't be able to feel, but clearly was. So there's got to be a person in Silo 1 that you guys all need to deal with. Because if this isn't just like a computer that's, running numbers to figure out how to best keep us all alive, and there's a person that's controlling whether we live or die, that is completely different. And that
Hmm.
is something that we can actually take some sort of control over, because it's not a computer that decides to push the button. It's a person that's going to push the button and bring in the safeguard. And Camille was kind of like, yeah, this really weird thing happened to me the other day where it was consoling me. And it was just like, you already knew that this was odd. There's just this tinfoil hat. There's this part of me
Yeah.
that's been feeling like, or wishing or hoping that Camille all this time has been fooling us as well, that she never brought the vitamin D up to the water supply, because everybody's still fine. We are
Yeah.
like trucking along like nothing is happening with this water supply at all. Nobody seems to have lost their memories at all at this point. That it just feels like maybe after that moment, she was like, something's not exactly right. I will bring up a barrel that says that it's the vitamin D, but it's not actually. And that way, the AI doesn't figure out that I've done something else.
I think we need a reveal like that, because I was sitting back after Bernard drops this whole surprise that's not really a surprise about, oh, maybe this isn't an
Right,
AI,
right.
because then you have to wonder, okay, now that we have this idea in our heads, what's the next reveal? And to me, it's one of two things here. Either they're setting up so that the person behind this algorithm, this actual not AI, is someone we know or are interested in some way. Because if it's just some random and they've been building up for this reveal that it's some random, it would be sort of akin to, I used to watch Scooby Doo a lot as a kid, and there were these episodes of Scooby Doo where the person behind the mask you never saw for the entire episode. And
Mhm.
I was just like, this is a waste of time. So they
Right.
can't. They can't build up the suspense about, oh, who is this person, if it's just some random. So either it is somebody who has magically been in Silo 18 and they figured out some sort of way to go back and forth or whatever, or it's what you're saying, which feels a lot more likely, that this is not about, oh, who's running this. It's that Camille has been doing something in secret for the past little while.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of us out there that think that the voice sounds a lot like Daniel, and
Mhm.
it does. And it's kind of like, well, if this has been hundreds of years, he wouldn't be around anymore.
Yeah.
Has it been hundreds of years? Because that's the thing, right?
Yeah.
We're all meant to believe that's what it is. Everyone in the silo is meant to believe that's what it is. But they've also all had their memory erased. That's from the whole rebellion that started this all off. Could we only be like 20 or 30 years in the future at this point? I don't know. Like, I'm just kind of sitting back being like, what's the real timeline here on this? Is it Daniel, but Daniel's maybe in his 60s or 70s or something like that now, and he's still running it all? And maybe he's kind of in a solo position where there's only a couple of people in Silo 1 still dealing with this, while most of the silos just aren't functioning anymore. And Silo 18 is just one of the last that's actually functioning because they're the last ones to figure it out.
I'm still collecting my thoughts because that was so freaking okay. That is, you blew my mind. Okay, let's run with this idea for a moment. Yeah, like if this is just 20 to 30 years in the future, I'm reacting this in real time, guys, so bear with me. This idea then of, oh, well, then why would you make all these people believe that you're hundreds of years in the future or however long that it's generation upon generation? Then you would kind of want them to think that so that they would be convinced to keep doing all of this to make them feel like, oh, the finish line is right around the corner, when in reality, if that's not the case, that does leave the door for Daniel to be over there, for someone else at least related to a character we've seen it. Like, that is suddenly so much more exciting than anything that could be happening otherwise if it is like several centuries down the road.
Okay, so it does feel like Juliette has maybe gotten through to Camille near the end of all of this, right before, we've got our A team in there trying to cap off the pipes to be able to deal with this. So Bernardo's gone out, the A team's over here trying to cap off the pipes, and Juliette is still trying to bring Camille over to just be like, we need to know why this is happening. If this is a person and this isn't just a computer, why? And Camille's like, well, does it matter? Yeah, it matters. It really matters. Why would a person be keeping us in here?
I do in my heart, and maybe this is just me being too optimistic, that maybe there is still like a way to get through to the Camille in the finale, because she's never been set up to be just like pure ha 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 regarding like this whole silo. Like, I feel like we're gonna be building towards something where she finally comes around, and this is gonna be a classic case of, oh, I want to help you, but it's all too late. And then Juliette's gonna say something akin to, but is it? And then we're gonna have like some sort of mad dash to figure this out, and somebody's probably gonna die.
Okay, my hope for the finale with the silo part of it is that they are going to cap off the safeguard.
Yeah.
And then the whole silo is going to find a way to come together. There's, 10,000 people in there to be like, okay, this is what has happened now. We have control over the silo. This is what's going on in Silo 1. They've been trying to kill us. We're all going to find a way to get to Silo 1, or we are going to find a way to stop Silo 1 in case the other, bunch of silos are any people that are still there. We're going to try to fix it so that everybody is going to be okay.
I think they need to do something like that just to give us a real driving force moving into the next season. They can't have this vitamin D thing work, because if it works, we are right back at the start of season 3 all over again. Everyone is going to be
so
mad.
Pissed. Yeah, I'll be pissed.
They need to have some sort of real progress to get people excited, and the idea of, oh, we're finally gonna see Silo 1 or a journey to Silo 1. Like, that is thrilling. Like, that also brings in everything that happened in the past as well.
It was interesting to hear Camille try to tell Juliette, oh, we're going to have, one person from each department that's not going to drink the water, that is going to help rehabilitate everyone. Because that's been my biggest question. It's like, okay, everybody drinks the water, and then what? Nobody knows how to run the silo anymore. There's no more engineers. There's no more farmers. Nobody knows what they're doing anymore. Who reprograms everyone to get it working again? And it's good that they said it here, but I wish they had said it a couple episodes ago, because all this time I'm just like, what is, I don't understand.
Yeah, well, that would have been very, very helpful, guys.
Okay, let's go into the past here. Beep, bop, 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 boop. We're in the past. We're finally, this story is coming together in a really exciting way.
It's Peter Gabriel. Okay, I'll give a little bit of a story time here, guys. I love Peter Gabriel. When I saw Wall-E for the first time, my favorite Pixar movie, Peter Gabriel started singing at the very end of it. I just started sobbing in a movie theater by myself. So yeah, like, there's these two schools of thought. There's obviously this, oh, this is stunt casting. Peter Gabriel must just like the show and wanted to come on. And it's like, yeah, that might be true, but I think this was a deliberate effort by the show to at least try to ground what's happening with Daniel and Helen in some element of reality here.
It's very realistic that some famous person was going to have a spot in one of these silos, that it was going to be, yeah, we need the engineers and the doctors and the farmers and everyone to keep it going. But there was definitely going to be some people with money that are like, I want to be part of this. I don't want to end up here on Earth when everything goes kaboom and there's nowhere to go.
I think that's also why they were trying to articulate why having this specific group of people here to all explore the silos, to give you a sense of, oh, these all have to be important people. Everything we're doing here is really, really special. Like they're really trying to roll out this proverbial red carpet and then everything just goes in a completely different direction.
Yeah, because it's all just a trap.
Yeah.
Like it absolutely to me is just like, oh, it's not a coincidence that Daniel's here. He's brought over to Silo 1. Helen's here. She's brought over to Silo 18. Silo 1 is where it controls everything. They were trying to get the two of them to be part of this project. How do you make that happen? You force it. You have these like big tours where everybody you want is actually there, and then all of a sudden kaboom, it just happens to happen. No, that was absolutely timed. It was something that whoever's in control of all of this made happen so that everybody that they wanted to be in the silos are actually in the silos.
I just can't wrap my head around why. All right, I guess you guys think that the world is ending. You needed to get everybody here at the right time or whatever. I'm just trying in my head to explain this to me that it's not just a repeat of what we saw in Fallout on Prime Video, where it's just like, oh, Vault Tech, they were sort of behind everything the whole time. I don't want to watch a repeat of that. So I'm trying to sit back and be like, they knew the world was ending. They knew they probably couldn't get the right people there by any other means.
Or is it not that the world is ending and only this specific part of the world has been ended on purpose and the rest of the world is still going, and it's just these 50 silos that they have done this within the surrounding areas that they have contaminated in whatever way that they have to make sure that people would just not be able to be there, but maybe it's not the whole world.
Yeah, it's another interesting idea here that brings us into another show we cover, which is From, where you had all these questions about what is Fromville really? Is it an experiment? Like maybe this could then be an experiment, because it's like if we're led to believe, and I mean your excellent theory earlier about what if the silos are only a few decades into the future, if that is true, then it does sort of lend itself to this idea then that, all right, well, what if the whole world isn't like this, where all of this is an experiment? What's happening within these particular silos with the flow of time, this is all preparation for what could be, and then eventually maybe at the end of season 4 characters are able to escape this sort of zone and they look around and there's actually like a real functioning world around them.
Yeah, or even worse, there's a functioning world around them, but these 50 silos are actually hundreds and hundreds of silos all over the world that haven't started yet because they're trying to see if this actually works. And if it's worked for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, and then it's like, okay, then we can make more silos around the world and we could start to put people in everywhere around the world if this part works.
Just thinking about all this actually makes me really sad that season 4 is then the final one.
I know.
Because, if we wanted to look at this sort of as a nesting doll where we've got this wrapped inside another twist, wrapped inside another, like we could actually keep this going for a really, really long time. But I hope that the finale will actually give us more of the real early days within this silo, because we saw Helen kind of go down, go back up, but we didn't actually get a taste of some of the stuff that I really, really wanted to see there.
I can't wait to see Helen in the silo. I 1,000% tinfoil hat believe that she is the person that started the rebellion, and that is why they separated them when they brought them there, because they already know that Helen was the person who got up and was like, peace. I don't want any part of this. You can keep your gray goo. I'm leaving. It's all fine. That if she has that attitude attitude of somebody who's not going to take things sitting down, then they definitely don't want her anywhere near Daniel, because Daniel then got up and was like, me also too as well. So you need to keep Daniel away from her. And if she is going to start some sort of rebellion, then, get her as far away as possible.
At the very least, I'm just so happy to say that this season of Silo is peaking at just the right point, where it felt like season 2 frustrated us for a good portion of the entire thing. But like these last couple of episodes of this season have been so unbelievably good. And I'm like
Yep.
so excited for the finale
Yes.
now. But let's turn this to you guys. What do you think they're going to be doing in this finale? Are you expecting a big cliffhanger? Give us your thoughts on episode 9. And thanks once again to Oxnet Clothing for
Thank you.
sponsoring this video. We've got that link in the description. Code Matt and Jess TV, 15% off. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
We will see you here next time.